My name is Olivia Jones. For those of you who don't know me, I generally do these Cal Poly Admissions Instagram lives. So hopefully you've seen a few of them before, but if you haven't, definitely check those out. There's some really useful things on there, like helping you through your application, what the dorms look like, housing at Cal Poly, and other topics. So today we're going to be talking about our typical sort of days and lives as Cal Poly students, what we get up to, what our academics look like, as well as, kind of outside things that we're involved in.
Hi everyone,
Max,
my
do you
name
want to
is
introduce
Max Kruger. I'm from Lake Oswego, Oregon. My pronouns are he, him, his, and I study biomedical engineering. And a day in the life.
Okay, looks like Max accidentally left, but I'm sure he'll be right back. There we go. Hopefully he's
A day in the life. I just learned that if you swipe during an Instagram live, it turns your Instagram live off. So I'm just not going to touch my phone. But a day in the life. It is just absolutely incredible getting to live in San Luis Obispo and go to school at Cal Poly, get to hang out with so many friends, have so many familiar faces around in this college town. I like to wake up, go work out, go surfing, maybe go for a little morning hike, and then maybe head to class and study for a good chunk of the day, get my work done early, and just so in the evenings I can maybe go for a little sunset surfing or catch a little sunset hike on campus at the P with some friends. So
awesome. So I actually forgot that I didn't introduce myself. My name is Olivia Jones, pronouns she, her, hers, and I am a communication studies major here at Cal Poly. We are both fourth years, so we're in our last year, or maybe last year for Max. We'll see about that.
engineering.
We are members of Polyreps, who are the official university ambassadors and tour guides at Cal Poly. So if any of you that are on the live right now have been on a Cal Poly tour or are planning on going on one to see if you want to come here, then it might be given by one of us or one of the other members of our organization. So we are obviously particularly passionate about Cal Poly and being a student here, but obviously a lot of our friends are too. You don't have to be part of the organization to enjoy your time at Cal Poly. And yeah, so Max and I actually met our sophomore year when we joined Polyreps together. We were in the same new member class, didn't know each other beforehand, and then past 2 years, junior year, we actually ended up living on the same street. So we live off campus in houses. So we're behind the rec center. So we're pretty close to campus. We're able to walk to school every day, which is really nice. We walk to campus together sometimes. And it definitely is super fun living in SLO because it's such a college town. So it's highly likely that you'll get to live right by your friends or with them.
Yeah, and I mean, you pretty much hit it. It's a pleasure and blessing to call you my neighbor and friend and fellow poly rep. But living in a college town is something that I didn't really totally understand when I was looking at schools, but something I've grown to really appreciate with my time here at Cal Poly. I'll be going to the beach, going to get a sandwich, going to get a burrito, and wherever I go, me being a student, it almost like feels like it's part of it. Where I remember my friends visiting me my second year, and we would go watch the sunset at Avila Beach, and I would go run into my friends from class or run into my friends from the dorms or WOW week, WOW, and I'd run into my friends, and that's something that I didn't realize is not very common at some schools. I mean, when you're in such a big city, it's something you don't always see. So it's something that I found that was really cool. And they also oftentimes have student discounts, which is a pro move. Wherever you go, getting a student discount on burritos or food or whatever it might be.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think that not only do I like the Cal Poly campus itself and, you know, everything it offers, but I think living in Slough in general, which is such a big part of where you go to college, is the location of, you know, where that college is. And this location has just been perfect for me. It has that perfect balance of, you know, obviously we're mostly students, but it's also not so small that you feel like there's nothing to do. Like Max said, you can go to the beach. We have 10 beaches within 10 miles. But if you're not a super big beach person, then there's tons of other things that you can get involved in. Um, there's clubs on campus. So we have 400 plus clubs on campus. And this is funded and sort of supported by ASI, or Associated Students Incorporated. So that is similar to your high school or sort of community college ASB leadership council. So that's one thing you can get involved in yourself. And they just kind of make sure that not only are you, you know, enjoying your academics, but you're also enjoying your free time that you have.
Yeah, and I love being involved with clubs, because with clubs you're gonna make so many friends and get to do things that really you don't find just everywhere, and you get to be surrounded by students who are equally passionate about whatever it might be, academic or not, cultural or not. Some of my favorites include Hummus Club, where they get to eat fun, different hummus platters and boards and set up and just get to hang out. Or one that I also found myself really involved in was Empower, which is a big instructionally related activity, big club, student association, where they engineer special medical devices for people with unique medical disabilities here in the community. So whatever it looks like, it's an awesome way to like make friends and get to explore. And I think Olivia touched on it a little earlier. San Luis Obispo, it's right here on the Central Coast, and Central Coast, there's so much to it, so much life going on outside of Cal Poly that you also are able to explore. And it's located right in between San Francisco and Los Angeles. So one thing that I think is really cool is our central location here in California kind of opens up all of California to you. So you can pop up to Bay Area for a weekend, go to Tahoe or Yosemite, or go down to Southern California and check out Joshua Tree or Los Angeles or San Diego. So the whole of California feels like it's just at your fingertips, and you just gotta go out there.
Yeah, one cool random fun thing is that Max actually traveled to San Francisco, just decided to go up really early in the morning, spend the day there, and then came back in the evening. So honestly possible even to do day trips like that. Me and my friends traveled to LA just for the day. We came there, drove there super early in the morning, then drove through Santa Barbara on the way back, and then came home back to San Luis Obispo. So it's definitely possible to be able to explore places that you haven't been able to explore before. What do your academics look like as an engineering student, Max?
Academics, that's a great question. So it's midterm season right now, or just finishing up. And so midterms, we are on the quarter system, and I know there's some announcements that have been released recently about some transitions, but I'm on the quarter system. And so that looks like a 10 to 12 week quarter. And it is fun, but it is fast. And so as an engineer, I typically have classes Monday through Friday. This quarter, I am very blessed to have classes Monday through Thursday. And the 4-course work week is incredible. It lets me work at the winery that I work at on the weekends. And but as an engineer, I typically wake up 8 in the morning. I'm an early morning guy, so I wake up nice and early, get a coffee, go to my first class, and that kind of gives me in the academic mindset. After class, I'll go to the library, and then I'll get my study on, where I get to do a lot of homework, get ahead of my curriculum, maybe read some of the textbook pages so I can have an idea of what I'm going into when I head into lecture. And then I'll continue to work on homework until the evenings. And I actually don't like to stay up very late and don't like to do homework past 8 p.m. So after 8 p.m., I usually like to just take it easy and unwind from the whole day. So it's actually pretty manageable to take on engineering or take on like a heavier course load. I'm in 18 units this quarter, and I'm able to get able to get a lot done there.
Awesome. Yeah, you're probably a lot better than I am. I sometimes end up studying super late, but it is great to have that balance and to kind of set yourself a schedule so that you can stay on track with your academics, and so that you have that free time in the evenings or on the weekends so you can actually enjoy what SLO has to offer. So for me personally, I will wake up, go to class. I kind of have a split between in-person and online classes right now, which honestly I have appreciated because it's helped ease me back into being in person again, having been so used to being online for a while. And then I'll go and meet with my friends for an hour or so in the University Union, which is a really fun place to hang out on campus. There's a Starbucks there, places to nap, do homework, hang out. So I'll stay there for a little while and then I'll head to work. So I work at the Cal Poly Welcome Center. So in addition to, I'm involved in admissions that way. So I get to hang out with fellow poly reps. I know most of my co-workers already, and that's super fun. And just kind of back end of how everything works. And I'll go home, do a little bit of homework, and then usually in the evenings me and my roommates will like watch TV together or go and watch the sunset, and just, you know, enjoy the beautiful slow life.
Yeah. I saw a question in the chat, or a couple questions.
Yeah.
One that I thought would be fun is, what floor of the library is my favorite to study on? Definitely floor 4. Floor 4 is the work zone, or it gets a little quieter as it goes up. And floor 4 is quiet. I'm focused, but I'm not worried that I'm loud in any way. What about you, Olivia?
It depends. Honestly, if I'm by myself and it's in the morning, I'll go to the first floor, because there's a lot of kind of like there. But if not, I'll probably group works or doing it with friends. I'll go to the second or third. So it's interesting that everyone has kind of different ways of studying, and how that works for all of you. So you'll definitely figure that out during your time at Cal Poly.
I recommend using a Google Calendar, or getting any sort of calendar service. Getting organized with your schedule is a great way to stay on top of things and be able to find time and be a little bit more efficient. Or at least it was a big help for me when I started doing that my second year. We got another question. Do either of you have any insight about the graphic communication programs? I have a little bit of insight. I don't study graphic communication myself, but I've worked with a lot of those students. The coolest ways that I think I've worked with them, I couldn't speak too much for their academic curriculum, but oftentimes a lot of graphic communication majors you'll see doing different senior projects or work with Cal Poly student businesses in the Center of Innovation and Entrepreneurship, or with different Cal Poly School of Agriculture products. So a lot of our wine bottles, or chocolates, or butter, or ice cream will actually have labels designed by Cal Poly students. And a lot of these students will actually go and help local businesses here in the Central Coast with their graphic communications and advertising. So definitely a lot of exciting ways to get applied there.
Yeah, that's all great things and super cool stuff that the graphic comms program does. I'm just a regular communications major, so a little bit more of the kind of writing based side of things. But I have a good friend that's a graphic comms major and he loves it. He took a whole class just on fonts. Believe it or not, you can take a class just solely on fonts. So if you ask him his opinions about what his favorite font is, he definitely has quite a lot to say about it. He also took a class that was just a sticker making class. So he gave me a couple of his stickers that he made, and just kind of the process of creating and designing these little things. And he also has an Instagram account where he shares some of his projects and various designs that he's created through his classes at Cal Poly. So he definitely has a passion for it, and has really enjoyed his classes that he's taken.
Yeah. Another question was, speaking towards the dual environmental bachelor's and master's programs. So that sounds like the 4+1. So the environmental engineering program is really cool. They do a lot of work with sustainability at Cal Poly. I had the pleasure of working with a lot of environmental engineers with Future Fuels, which is a club where they engineer transportation using using um, environmentally or green methods. So we are actually taking waste vegetable oil from the Cal Poly campus dining, and we had a bioreactor where we would refine it and then use that as fuel for a motorcycle and race car that we had engineered to be able to run on those fuels. And so it was really cool to kind of get to see. And with those 5+1 programs, Cal Poly offers them, or 4+1 programs, you essentially graduate in 5 years. And in your senior year or your fourth year, you're taking both undergrad and graduate level coursework. So by the time you graduate in 4 years or five, so 4+1, you graduate with both your bachelor's and master's in whatever engineer or discipline you're pursuing. So that's something I have a lot of friends do when they reach their third, fourth year and they're wanting to maybe go a little more in depth in their curriculum before they enter the next stages. So something I've seen pretty cool. And then another great question is a favorite part of Weekly's Farmers Market. Olivia, what's your favorite part?
I actually recently went a couple of weeks ago, and I forgot how many people go. I mean, some people go every single week to the market, which I think is awesome. You'll see a ton of your friends, you know, random friends that you've met through classes, people you haven't spoken to for a while, and I personally buy some random vegetables there. To support local vendors. I'll go and get dinner there. They have a lot of local restaurants that are located down, come out and have booths. There's usually local bands that play there. We've had fellow poly reps perform at the farmers market. And it's a great way to head downtown, have a nice time with some friends, eat, talk, walk. Yeah, definitely a cool thing that SLO does.
Yeah. One of my roommates, I remember I love going to the farmers market. I love seeing all the different things that are grown here locally in the Central Coast. Honey Boys, Cal Poly Welcome Center reminded me. One of the fellow poly reps, Matsato, he is in a band that he, with a couple of his friends who go here to Cal Poly, and they'll actually perform at the farmers market, which is really cool to get to see some live music and some jamming out. But I remember a story of one of my friends, Tyler. He, we always go to the farmers market and we buy local Central Coast honey, because he likes to say that he has bad allergies, and that he told me that eating honey helps those allergies. I don't know if there's any science to it, but the
I've heard,
honey is delicious, and I absolutely love eating some honey toast or whatever I put my honey on.
yeah, let's see.
Think of honey boys, yeah.
Zane, thank you for your comments. This is great information. Let's see. SAT scores / calculated GPA that got you accepted into Cal Poly. So they are not actually for this upcoming admissions cycle. They're not going to look at your SAT scores. So we are test blind for this fall, meaning that you can submit them if you want to, but the admissions officers simply will not look at them. Your admissions will be based on your GPA as well as a few other factors. So I personally I can't remember exactly, but I want to say I had like a 4.2 something GPA. And then I got a 30 on the SAT. What about you, Max?
Um, I was actually really fortunate. I mean, I worked pretty hard in high school, and I had the good choice between a lot of schools. I had a 34 on the ACT, and I believe it was a 1510 on the SAT, and I had a 4.0 unweighted GPA for engineering. But that's not the minimum requirement. Cal Poly will look at a lot of different factors like your work related experience or volunteer experience, and those leadership roles I know play a good factor in your engineering application. So Yeah, I think I saw a question about um, out of state students, and basically, I'm actually out of state, so I can speak to that one for a little bit. Um, as an out of state student, I absolutely love it. I learned a ton about California, learned a ton about myself, learned that I just absolutely love 75-degree and sunny year round weather here. I'm from Oregon where it rains a whole lot, and I find myself, my music taste has changed. That's one of the weirdest things that I noticed, but in Oregon, it was a little easier for me to listen to more maybe like moody music, but it's hard when it's absolutely gorgeous out to listen to the same kind of music I was listening to. And also, um, one thing I noticed, and if you're from Oregon, maybe you'll do the same, but I always, every single day, I'd walk outside and be like, wow, it is such a beautiful day outside, because it is. But I remember freshman year, my friends would all laugh because I would say it every single day. And it truly is just absolutely stunning here in San Luis Obispo. And so I love it. Cal Poly, I believe about 15% of the students are out of state.
Yep.
And so it's really cool. I have a ton of friends here who are out of state, but also a ton of friends from California. So it really feels like friends from all over. And so I've met people. One of my friends or roommates actually, he's from Canada. So Owen, he's pretty awesome, and we just got a husky. So
Yeah, we love Ace. He's a cute dog. We're going by now, the name.
yeah,
I don't know about specific statistics in terms of out-of-state applicants. Our scores that we gave you earlier obviously are very individual, and you will only be applying against people from your major. So I was only applying against fellow potential communication students. So it all depends on obviously GPAs and scores of people that also applied to that same major that you applied to. Okay,
yeah.
Another question.
I like the dining hall question. I
Yeah.
wanna hit that one. Um, what time do dining halls open? I so most dining options on campus are going to be opening fairly early. It's going to vary on that dining option. Vista Grande definitely opens. Uh,
7 a.m.
was it open when 5 a.m.?
7 a.m.
7 a.m. Okay. But food is always available on campus because we have a 24/7 hour subway. So, should you be finishing up from a late night at the library on your way back to the dorm, you can stop and get a Subway sandwich that works with your meal plan on your Poly card. And it is so amazing to grab a salami meatball sandwich on the way back and finish it by the time you get to the dorm and go to bed a happy Cal Poly student. And so,
There's nothing like starting your day off with a Subway sandwich.
or
Um,
finishing it.
I used to sometimes I used to make breakfast in my dorm. I would just make oatmeal. You can make cereal. That's definitely an option. But I would also use my dining dollars at it. I actually had a class in the engineering building. Believe it or not, us liberal arts people do take classes with engineers. And I used to go to Campus Market and pick up a veggie breakfast burrito or a breakfast sandwich from there. And yeah, it was just a really nice way to start my day off, especially as a freshman. You don't have to worry about cooking your own food, which I know in hindsight I am very jealous of because I have to make my own meals now. But yeah, all of the dining places kind of range from one day open, but you're never going to be stuck without food. They'll make sure that never happens.
Yeah. The kitchens are pretty cool as well. You can always cook food up there too.
Opinions on the different dorms.
Depending on the different.
So I was in the red brick dorms. You can look up pictures of them if you want to. So they are one of the older dorms on campus. They are red brick buildings, hence the name. And I was in a triple So pretty tight, I'm not gonna lie. But one of my roommates I found on the Facebook page, and then one of them was random. And I'm super good friends with the random one, and I actually have lived with the one that I found on the Facebook page ever since freshman year. So it was a match made in heaven, and I loved living in the Red Bricks. All of my best friends pretty much are from the dorms. It has a sense of community. And each of the dorms honestly have their pros and cons. I'm sure you'll all probably hear about quote unquote new dorms when you come to Cal Poly, which is Yucky Tutu. Those definitely look very nice and are very much updated. But Matt, you lived in, right?
Yeah, so I lived in Sierra Madre, which is the towers, which was an absolute awesome living experience. I love it. I actually still live with people who I dormed with. Um, to this day. So I guess I just couldn't get enough of the dorm life, and so had to keep living with my current roommates. So in Sierra Madre, what was really cool is we had these awesome communal common rooms that everyone had access to, and we would all just hang out there. There were couches, and what was cool is I lived in the engineering residential learning community, and in that RC, I was able to live with a lot of engineers, and a lot of these people had my same classwork. And so we would be able to work together and study together at our dorm. And it was such a fun time being so close to campus, so close to all your friends and food, that I kind of miss it. I remember going, and I would just go for a hike in Poly Canyon Village, and it was so close. So the dorms is an awesome time. And the RAs were really cool too. My had an RA, Kyle, and he would actually help us all out with the registering, help like foster community. We'd always go down to play basketball at the rec center. Oh, it was a fun time. So
Yeah. And the way kind of how Max mentioned that the dorms work is that you don't pick where you live, you pick who you live with. So we have what's called residential learning communities, and they can range from the college, so College of Engineering, for example, College of Liberal Arts, or you could do a sort of community-based one. So I was in global living, so we all had an interest in travel or study abroad. There was collaborative leadership, mindful living. There's also cultural interest, so pride living, Cal Poly Scholars, the Honours Programme, tons of different communities that can help give you sort of a baseline of things that you might have in common with people, so that you're automatically going to be more connected to those around you that you live with. And these rotate around each year, so you never know where these living learning communities are going to be, which means that it's completely random where you'll end up living, which honestly is kind of a relief because it means that everyone's on a level playing field.
yeah, I think it's always important to consider. While it's nice to pick where to live, it ends up being who you live with is what's more important, more memorable. And so, one question: what is your and I saw the question also as well. Favorite area to live for transfer students? As a transfer, or I'm not a transfer student, but my recommendation for transfer students, there's a lot of great housing for students available to students right off campus, super close to campus, but also there is transfer housing available through the on-campus apartments. And those are really good ways to get accustomed and integrated on campus, be surrounded by your fellow peers. And there's also transfer-specific housing for those as well. So,
yeah, great question.
And then favorite local coffee shops.
I love going to coffee shops in Slough. It's kind of one of those. I feel like Slough is known for its coffee shops and sandwich shops. So the other comment said, I've heard it's just sandwiches and other American food, so I feel like I'd get tired of it. You honestly don't. Yeah, I out all of these random coffee shops to study or just to go catch up with a friend. There's on-campus coffee shops, there's off-campus ones. For example, Scout Coffee. There's now 3 locations in Slough. There is one downtown, one sort of off campus, and then now they're finally putting in a on-campus Scout Coffee, which is really exciting. I love studying at a place called Cruiseberg because they have a menu of food items, they have a really good breakfast burrito, and they have tons of seating in there where you can go and study or get a coffee with a friend. What about you, Max?
For coffee shops, I actually don't drink a whole lot of coffee. I'll prefer to eat acai bowls,
Mm,
which are there's a lot of really great acai bowls in San Luis Obispo, which I never had before and just fell in love with. So seeds is typically where I like to do some studying. But on the comment for how is the food in Slow, I think this food in Slow is actually really great. Um, there definitely is like a lot of sandwich shops, which is really cool. And there's this bread called Dutch Crunch, which I don't know who invented it, but it is spectacular and it should be worldwide. And so I'll definitely get all my sandwiches with Dutch Crunch. But I've actually found there's a lot of different food options, and so you can always find something that you're looking for. The One of my favorites is actually Shalimar, which is going to be Indian food and it's in a buffet kind of family style. And so that's going to be over towards Broad. And there's definitely like a lot of people. I think it's really easy for people to get in the habit of just going to the same place because they love it, it works, they get what they want. But there's a lot of different food options to explore in San Luis Obispo. And even if you start to branch out even a little bit further to the Central Coast and try to go somewhere that's not just 5 minutes away and super easy, there's like some good restaurants like Ember and Arroyo Grande is like renowned in the state of California. And there's a lot of really good dining options in Paso if you're looking for nicer dining. But Shalimar is one of my favorites. I have to shout them out.
a good shout out. We also both love Thai boat. We've had many a
Uh,
time. If you like Thai food, that's a great place to go. But yeah, it's also nice as freshmen to try and eat off campus sometimes when you can. If you have upperclassmen friends or you bus to the farmers market and try some cool places, it's always nice to kind of change up the palette a little bit. Favorite movie theater? So there are a couple movie theaters in Slough. There is Sunset Drive-In, which is a drive-in movie theater that people like to go to. There is a slightly bigger movie theater in downtown Slough, so that's going to show sort of some of your mainstream movies. And then there's also a lot smaller theater in downtown as well, and that often shows some foreign films or some more independent films. So kind of a range of places that you can go to see movies.
I like uh, I like Sunset Drive-In.
Yeah, it's always fun. What else? Does at a dorm. It does cost slightly more to be in Yakitutu or to be in a double room versus a triple or quad room. But the discrepancies aren't too big, and you actually can request to have a lower cost dorm on your application. So if you don't want to pay as much for your housing, they'll make sure that they prioritize you in getting that cheaper housing on campus. How far is downtown from campus? Great question. So as freshmen, you are not allowed to have cars on campus, which is unfortunate. But honestly, I completely manage. And in fact, I have never had a car here in Slough. Most places are pretty walkable. And then also get free public transportation using a bus system with your Poly card. So all you have to do is swipe your Poly card and the bus will take you to downtown, so the farmers market, or to go shopping, to grocery stores, pharmacies, that kind of thing. So downtown, I would say is about, what, like a 10-minute drive from campus? If that, depending on where you are, could be 5.
Yeah, from campus, downtown is like a hop, skip, and a jump away. I mean, a lot of my friends will actually live in downtown San Luis Obispo, or maybe live on the other side of downtown San Luis Obispo from Cal Poly, and they'll bike, and their bike ride or commute to Cal Poly only ends up being maybe like a 5-minute bike ride. And then for walking, it's actually super walkable as well. Walking only takes about maybe a 15-20 minute walk to downtown. So
Yeah. Another question we have is, describe the culture in 3 words. Please don't use learn by doing. Thanks for
that's a
catching.
good question.
Maybe a good question to end on, perhaps.
I was thinking a fun question to end on might be like, describe your ideal day. Ideal day and then realistic day.
Describing the culture, I would say, like outdoorsy, hardworking, and fun. I don't know. I'm personally not super outdoorsy, but I know that that is generally kind of a vibe of slow. But good to know that you don't have to be outdoorsy, but I would say that that's how a lot of people would describe it. And hardworking in the sense that people do genuinely care about their academics as well as the organizations that they're involved in. So they want to stay driven in terms of career goals or academic goals. And then I know basic fun, but I really do believe that it's a fun place to be, and that you have a great kind of school work-life balance.
I spent some time. I mean, Olivia went first, so she had the harder one. I got some time to think about mine. Um, the three words that honestly came to mind right away. Number one is going to be innovative. Cal Poly has like a really awesome center of innovation and entrepreneurship that I have loved being a part of, and there's engineers and business students and people from all backgrounds coming together to work on these projects, which leads me into my number two word, collaborative. I've just loved the cooperation and community that Cal Poly has built. So, I mean, collaborate, maybe community or collaboration, but communities collaborating. And my last word, dang, fun's such a good one. Uh, I had one, innovative, collaborative, and balanced.
Oh,
Balanced. That's my last word. And I say balanced because I find that a lot of Cal Poly students are really amazing inside and outside the classroom. They're awesome people, so kind, so caring, and I've just been really blown away with my time here in San Luis Obispo. I met people who I'll be friends with for life. I've grown such an amazing network, and I'm just so excited with where the future holds. And Cal Poly has honestly been a springboard that has just let my life into a brand new trajectory, and I'm so thankful for it. And I'm ready to just bounce into a fun and beautiful future with a new knowledge and friends and Mustang family, Mustang way.
it was a lot more polished than mine was. Thank you for that.
I had more time to think. Well, yeah. I'm so impressed with Cal Poly and like the experience I've got with um, working with all sorts of interdisciplinary projects and students who are passionate, and just the people I think are what make it so special. So
Yeah. There is one question that says, SLO has been described as the Harvard of Agriculture and Environmental Science. Would you agree?
I don't study agriculture or environmental science myself, so I also don't go to Harvard. Um,
I
but
from I know, I mean, I have friends that study environmental management and protection, and they love that program. It's, you know, a somewhat niche interest. So I know that everyone that's involved in that program is very passionate about what they're learning. And they have a lot of great resources, especially in the area that we're in. And then in terms of agriculture, we do have an incredible agriculture program here. Like Max mentioned earlier, people are heavily involved in the production, marketing, and selling of agricultural products. So we are the second largest landholding university in California, meaning we have almost 10,000 acres of land that are used primarily for students and, you know, tended to by students. So definitely has that learn by doing aspect heavily in the agriculture department. So
yeah,
if you're following Harvard's reputation, then I would say, in my biased opinion, that that's probably true.
yeah, no, I would say like Cal Poly's agriculture school is like absolutely incredible, top notch. It's one reason like 1 in 10 gallons of milk have been touched by Cal Poly alumni, which is a statistic that we were given by uh, the Cal Poly University Marketing, which is just incredible. The alumni network is amazing, and a lot of Cal Poly students go on to become leaders in their industry. And so one person who I got to work with, who's actually a professor at Cal Poly, her name is Hillary Graves. She's wrote textbooks on her study of viticulture and farming for grapevines, and her textbooks and knowledge and research that she's done here at Cal Poly have just gone to go and shape the way that grapes are farmed across the U.S. and across the world. So a lot of really cool people to learn for.
Yeah, I love that. I heard there is a beekeeping class. Is it any good? Yes, so that is within the
Yeah.
culture, and that can be taken as a major support class or as an elective class. So you could be a psychology major and decide to take the beekeeping as a fun elective class, which I think is really cool. Our fellow polyrep Jay was in that class and she loved it. You know, get to be out there in full suits and everything, hanging out with those bees, producing honey, and it's definitely one of those cool elective classes that Cal Poly offers.
Yeah, the beekeeping club, the beekeeping class, it's the real deal. I was at a beekeeping club in high school, and they take you through the whole thing, and it was honestly a great experience that was better than the beekeeping club I was in high school, where I got to like really learn and now have this new passion or new hobby that I hope to carry with me into the future. And that's something that you don't have to be in the College of Agriculture to take. It can be one of the free electives for most majors.
Definitely. Okay, well, I think we're kind of running low on time. So, Max, you want to kind of end things off with your final perfect day in slow question?
Yeah. So,
We've actually talked about this before off Instagram Live, I remember.
yeah. Well, tomorrow is actually my birthday.
Woo!
And so tomorrow I'm going to do my best to enact this perfect day. But I think my perfect day in San Luis Obispo would be waking up early. I love getting an early start of my day, being able to make the most of it. Waking up early, going surfing there at Morro Bay, at Morro Rock with a bunch of my friends. Waves probably being like 3 foot, just easy longboard, and just kind of relaxing there on the water. And maybe some dolphins make an appearance, maybe an otter here or there. And then come back, eat a breakfast burrito from Gus's Grocery because it's the best breakfast burritos in SLO. And then maybe get to go for a little hike, go for a stroll through Poly Canyon and the Architecture Graveyard, and then get an acai bowl afterwards. And after that acai bowl, go over to Avila Beach and get to hang out on the beach. And then you finish the day off with a nice little farmer's market walk, and then go home and get some rest, get some good old shut-eye. So I think that sounds like a pretty great day. Most days, though, look like wake up, still go surfing, go maybe work in the vineyard for a little while, come back, do some studying, go to class. And so class would be a part of it for certain, and a lot of studying.
That's a good day to me. Mine would probably be somewhat similar. I would probably sleep in rather than waking up early because I'm a big sleeper. I also love going to get breakfast burritos. I do love Gus's as well as Kreuzberg's. Those are probably my favorite. And then, yeah, maybe going to the beach with some friends, enjoying the sun. Walking around Avila is my favorite. And then, yeah, coming back, maybe hanging out in my backyard, seeing some friends, and yeah, just kind of relaxing, but just kind of enjoying maybe slow sunset, having some good dinner, and yeah, there's really not a bad day in San Luis Obispo.
Sweet.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Max. I'm so glad that I got to talk to you in front of everyone. Thank you all for being here. We've appreciated all of your great questions. If you have any more questions, you definitely can contact Cal Poly Admissions. And I also recommend that you follow the Polyreps Instagram. We tend to post a lot of things about what we do as Cal Poly students. We are the ambassadors for Cal Poly, so we really want to make sure that, you know, we're representing the Cal Poly experiences. And we actually do every Tuesday, a member of Polyreps does an Instagram takeover. So they walk you through their typical Tuesday, which is really good insight into what that day can look like for various majors and people at Cal Poly. You also can check out some other Instagram lives that we've done on this page, and those will help you in terms of the application process or answering any more specific questions that you might have. There's also a Cal Poly Admissions YouTube page, which has information about specific majors and other tours of Cal Poly. So there's tons of great resources that help your journey into the application process, hopefully being a Mustang. So thank you so much, Max. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Olivia.
And have a great night, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good one.
Bye.
Hey there, my name's Rafael. I'm a 4th-year journalism transfer student with a minor in Spanish, and my pronouns are he, him, his. Thank you for watching the video. Please share any questions or comments you have down below in the comments section. Click here to subscribe, and to watch more videos, click here. If you want to sign up for a campus visit, we're offering in-person and virtual options, so check out our website. Link in the description. Thank you for watching.